This episode is brought to you by Redfin. You're listening to a podcast, which means you're probably multitasking. Maybe even scrolling home listings on Redfin, saving homes without expecting to get them. But Redfin isn't just built for endless browsing. It's built to help you find and own a home. With agents who close twice as many deals, when you find the one, you've got a real shot at getting it. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
The Larry Kudlow Show. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
So welcome back, everybody. Larry Kudlow here. Hour 3. Great to be with you. By the way, you can live stream this thing over the internet. LarryKudlowShow.com. LarryKudlowShow.com. You can hear us all across the country, around the world, throughout the solar system, including the Milky Way. And please, during the week, Fabulous Fox Business. The name of the show is Kudlow, 4 to 5 p.m. every day, Monday through Friday. And if for some reason you can't make it, well, gee whiz, just text your favorite 9-year-old. And she will show you how to DVR the show. And you'll never miss a thing. I promise you that. So we're going to do some stock market work, economy work. So nothing's changed. All prices, this is war jitters. All prices up, stocks down. Oil hovering around $100. This will not last. We are coming down the home stretch. The Straits of Hormuz will be covered by the U.S. Navy and the Fifth Fleet. Believe me, it's coming. They already took out the military, all the military stuff at Karg Island, which is a shot across the Iranian bow. I mean, that's what General Keane said. And the CENTCOM and the Navy has said they're coming. They just have a bunch of priorities to do. They have to make way for it. And it's going to change everything. All right? It's going to change everything in my judgment. But we'll have some fun. We got Jim Lacamp, Morgan Stanley, Senior Portfolio Manager. Well, you got a new title here. Wait, Morgan Stanley Executive Director and Senior Portfolio Management Director, and Jon Najarian, who is still the co-founder of Market Rebellion. Well, that's good, John. Hold on, John. I'm looking at the VIX. The VIX is 27, so it's high, so that's a warning sign, right? That's what you taught me? Short run.
Yes, sir.
Short run.
Yeah, it is. In the short run, it's just telling you that people are nervous.
Yeah.
And even though the market only moved, the S&P moved 0.6% yesterday. 0.6%, folks, would be about a 9 in real terms for the VIX. So in other words, all that extra, the differential between 9%, perhaps even 10% VIX, and the 27 that Larry just cited, is the fear premium that is built in there. And one thing I would throw out, Larry, that I bet you've seen it, but just in case you haven't, Saudi Arabia is shipping so much of its oil to its west coast right now.
Through the pipeline.
Does not have to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. In other words, when you look at the aerial of all the satellite view of all the ships that are moving, they're all moving to that side of the west side of Saudi Arabia, rather than going through the Straits of Hormuz. Now, is that preferred? Perhaps not, but certainly Saudi is capable on each coast to do that, deliver crude oil. And I would think that this is a bit of a game changer, as well as what you just talked about with the island that the U.S. hit pretty heavily last night and probably again today. I think that they're sending a pretty strong message to Iran that, just like Cuba, you guys, if you don't want to play ball, it's going to be really painful, not for all the people necessarily, but certainly for the military in Iran to be able to provide any kind of defense, because, again, they're not going to be able to produce energy for themselves even.
Jon Najarian, it's a great point. Do you know how much, or Jim Lacamp, how much the East-West pipeline that you're referring to, which they've loaded up to the gills, as they should, how much does it carry? Do we know per day kind of thing?
I don't know the answer to that. I do know this, that West Texas crude is still trading right at highs. It's at 99.31 right now. And that has created the Cerberus, the three-headed monster of higher 10-year Treasury yields, and a higher crude prices and a higher dollar, all of which, when they're all higher together, that's a problem for investors. And it's all about oil. You guys are both right. And John will probably tell you that the gamma is still negatively skewed, meaning that if you look at where the options traders are betting, they're betting on a lower market. They're primed to sell this market, but in reality, it's just all about the news flow, and it's all about the oil prices. And the minute we get a break in this war that feels real, that feels like something you can hang your hat on, there's plenty of oil. Oil's going to come crashing down, and it's going to change everything, because look at the Fed funds futures on the odds of a rate cut. They've pushed it all the way out to December now. If you want to get better than a 50% odds of a rate cut. And a month ago, that was May. Then it was June, then it was July, now it's December. That all changes when crude comes crashing down, and crude will come crashing down as soon as we get a piece of news that feels like it's real and that we can hang their hat on. Now, when Trump...
It's coming. I'm telling you, it's coming.
When Trump says a week ago that it's over, it's essentially over, and we all feel better about it, and we have a one-day rally, and then we see the news, and it's not really quite over, and the drones that they're fighting us with are a lot cheaper to make than the equipment to combat those drones. It feels like it might be messier than what Trump is saying. Hopefully not. Hopefully we get news today or tomorrow, and crude comes down and the market takes off, because we're 3 standard deviations oversold in the market. That's extraordinarily rare. And we'll get a big rally if we get good news.
You're going to have a melt-up. You're going to have a melt-up in stocks. I mean, that's what's going to happen here. You're going to have a meltdown of oil prices, and you're going to have a melt-up of stocks. And this Carg Island taking out them. This was another warning shot. They're being very kind. They're being very kind. I don't know why, to Iran, because they take out Carg Island, then they're completely finished. But I don't think that we want to starve the 90 million people that aren't in the regime government. I think that's part of it. But
and Larry, you asked how much flows through that pipeline known as the Petro Line, East-West crude oil pipeline. 7 million barrels a day is what they can put through there. And so that goes over towards the Red Sea, of course. Mm-hmm. And this is going to be something that, just as Jim Lacamp accurately said, you could have an actual huge break, just like we had a week ago Monday when we saw crude oil touch 119 and then come crashing down to 80 the same day. Why did that happen? Well, because of what the president said, and what people saw was that many of the futures traders were just unloading with both hands at that level, because they know there's plenty of crude out there. Shoot, there's 90 million barrels floating right now. So if you're getting 7 million barrels a day, about 2 million of that is used by Saudi for their own purposes, gets refined and used in their country. The rest of it gets shipped out. Then you cut off and or make the regime not able to fuel any of its resources, because to generate electricity, obviously nat gas, in some cases fuel oil, and so forth for Iran. In some cases, some of the nuclear facilities that they have, of course, have been taken out. So they're not going to have the energy to be able to fight much longer in this war, if indeed what Larry Kudlow just described at that island, which when you look at the satellite photos of that, it's one giant oil depot. Yeah, it's got a military base, and a mining facility, I guess, for a threat. But other than that, that is a situation where they can't really do too much without enough power to fuel anything in their country.
By the way, I can tell you that 7 the guys in Midland are telling you they're not buying it. They're saying, look, we're enjoying higher prices from our perspective, but don't buy that prices are going to stay here. Every Midland guy I've spoken to says this isn't going to last. And it all is going to, in terms of the market, depend on the oil, on the news flow coming out of the war. This is all about oil. It's affecting interest rates. It's affecting the dollar. And the minute we get that piece of good news, then the narrative starts to change again.
Dollar's strong. The dollar's back to 100.5.
Well, that's been an issue for certain parts of the market, and it's been an issue.
I love that. Dollar's back to par. That's the 20. That's like the 20 or 25-year average of the
Well, what do you think's going to happen to the dollar when we start talking about a rate cut cycle again? It's going to come right back down.
Well, I don't know. I don't know how much rates are going to fall. That's a
good question there.
I think that and I don't know when we can stop the legal wrangling in Washington to get Kevin Warsh in, but I also think that the post-war economy is going to be very, very strong. I think that we're in a business boom. We're in a profits boom. None of that's changed.
True. And when you look at China right now, Larry, China's down. This week was down as much as 9% since the war began.
Right.
The United States is down less than 2.8%. So I'm not saying that that we should stop just based on that, but I'm saying that this is having one of those effects that the president wanted it to have, and that is this degrades China, both Venezuela and Iran, degrade China's ability to invade Taiwan and to basically start a war in that section of the world.
Really important point.
Throw in the Ukraine on that same narrative because we can't get those weapons. We can't get those people as close to China otherwise. And one of the big reasons we're over there is so we can have weapons, tactics tested over nearer to China than we could otherwise get.
I mean, I think that, look, I understand oil prices up, stocks down. But stocks haven't fallen that much. I mean, I think that's a very, what John said is very important. They really haven't fallen. Oil prices have gone up a lot more than stocks have come down. That's just the vagaries of the situation. But having said all that, the president has made a number of statements. The Secretary of War has made statements. The head of CENTCOM has made statements. And the Joint Chiefs, General Kane. Every one of those statements is suggesting great war success, on schedule, if not ahead, and basically destroying every war-related infrastructure that Iran has. The drones will be the last, but even the drones, you take a look, the use of drones is sharply down. The missiles, the launchers, gone. The nuclear stuff is gone. So I'm just saying, to be a bear for anything more than a week or two more, you have to disregard the statements of all of these people. The president, the secretary, the head of Joint Chiefs, the head of CENTCOM. I mean, I myself have great faith in them. I have great faith in this president. You may not like the president, by the way, but I have faith in the war machine. It's like the David Boies article that we talked about earlier and I talked about last night on the show. You may not like Trump, but this is a righteous war, and we should be supporting it. But the point is our military is doing a great job. And therefore, if it's, 2 more weeks, 3 more weeks, I'm not smart enough to know, the Strait of Hormuz will be reopened. We know that. The Navy knows how to do that. The Fifth Fleet knows how to do that. Come on. Let's get serious. I mean, this is a great thing we're doing. We will take Iran out after 50 years. This is a great thing. If you don't like Trump, I'm sorry. That's okay. I respect that. But the fact is, what America is doing is a great thing. I didn't like FDR, but he ended fascism. Okay? I loved Reagan. He ended communism. I happen to support Trump on this, ending all the nuclear and terrorist ambitions of Iran. But it's a great thing. There will be massive freedom and prosperity when this is over. This is just a great thing. I'm sorry, fellas. I'm just very optimistic about this. And almost to believe otherwise would be incredibly pessimistic. And I'm not a pessimistic person. Never have been. Optimists always win. And we're talking stocks with Jon Najarian of Market Rebellion and Jim Lacamp of Morgan Stanley. I didn't even see this. It's another one of these announcements from the War Department. Hegseth said Friday, Iran's missile volume is down 90%. And their, let's see, he goes through their whole thing. Their one-way attack drones down 95% is what they're actually shooting up as, collapsing. So, anyway, I believe the end is near. Fox News is reporting that what they called warships are moving towards the Strait of Hormuz. There'll be more on this later, and, of course, the Cargo Island. So, Jon Najarian, how does one invest in this? We just have a little bit of time. What do you recommend? Whoop, we lose Jon.
Same thing. Whoops.
Sorry. It's okay.
Hello?
Yep.
Hello?
You're on.
Sorry, Larry. I think all three of us are saying the same thing, folks, and that is that significant pops in the energy price, whether it's crude oil or nat gas, domestic nat gas, that is, I would think should be sold. I don't think they're sustainable. I think if you're lucky enough to have purchased a contract, whether it's a domestic like Chevron and ExxonMobil or any of the Permian Basin plays for cross-drilling or fracking, I think you would be loath to look back a few months from now and say, damn, I don't know why I didn't take some profits when I had that opportunity to sell it at 40% premium or whatever. So I would say energy, I would be a net seller. Transportation, I would be a net buyer because obviously as energy comes back down, transportation stocks from airlines that are 30% of their costs are borne by fuel costs, I'd say that's going to be another opportunity. So
I just
keep an eye on both of those.
Hey, Jim Lacamp, I got about 45 seconds.
I would look to buy things that were leaders but got hammered because of this news, and that would be anything related to the infrastructure of data centers and AI and a lot of those leading names that were the leaders, even gold and silver and copper.
Back to normalcy. Profits are strong. Back to normalcy.
The Larry Kudlow Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.